Hey friends, spring has sprung. So today I'm sharing some spring writing center ideas for first grade that are going to help you freshen up your writing center with easy spring writing prompts and activities that your kids are going to love. Here in Ohio, we get a lot of snow and really cold weather over the winter months. So the minute the sun starts shining and I see a little crocus pop up from the ground, I'm feeling happy. So since we're officially in the spring season, I thought it might be a good time to talk about what to put at your spring writing center. It's time to dust off those cobwebs and spruce it up to get your kids excited about some spring writing. So let's get started. The minute the calendar turned to March in my classroom, I was ready to do all the spring things. I wanted to learn about, the springtime baby animals and the spring holidays like St. Patrick's Day and Easter and flying kites and just all the things that you think about that are associated with spring. So I thought today we'd talk about how you can get your kids motivated at your writing center by sprucing it up a little bit with some spring things. So first of all, I guess we need to talk about how your writing center is set up. I was always fortunate enough to have a classroom that was large enough to have a space that was designated to be my writing center. I think that's always the ideal situation because I think when kids have the opportunity to move around a little bit in the classroom versus just staying at their seat for center time, it's more motivating to them. There's just something about seeing that desk or that table all set up with pens and markers and special papers that makes kids want to visit that writing center. But if your space in your classroom is limited, you can always have your writing center in a basket or on a tray that kids can take to their own desk. I always feel like when you add special seasonal things to your writing center, kids are just more interested in going to that center. So stock it up with some fun springtime pencils and pens. You can get decorative pencils at the Dollar Tree. They have them for holidays like St. Patrick's Day or Easter or just spring. And sometimes you can find fun pens with things like a bunny head on top or something like that. One time I found a really cute St. Patrick's Day pen that had a little leprechaun on the top, and there was a button that you pushed to make his arms look like he was boxing. The kids thought it was fun, and stuff like that gets the kids more interested in the center. All right, so let's talk about some other supplies that you can add to your writing center for spring. You definitely want some spring-themed paper with fun borders like flowers or bugs, just to make the writing a little bit more fun. You can also add some little tubs with springtime colored crayons or markers that are like soft pastel colors to the center. You can also add some fun erasers for the kids to use. You can find those at Dollar Tree with flowers or bugs on them. I think stickers are always a fun thing to add to the writing center too. Kids can make sticker stories by making a little picture with a few stickers and then they can write about it. So you can get some spring-themed stickers for kids to use. And then in terms of literacy and word support, you can add a spring word wall to your center with words like flower and sun and rainbow, nest and puddle, stuff like that. It can be a word wall that you hang next to your writing center or just a small printable word wall that you can laminate and keep at the center. Sometimes I'd make word cards and put them in a little tabletop pocket chart, and that way the kids could take the word that they needed from the chart. Or you could even put the words on a ring and leave that at the center too. There's lots of ways to display a spring word wall at your writing center. You could also make some sentence starter sticks to keep at your center, and these can change for all the different seasons. You could write sentence starters on popsicle sticks, and the kids can choose one to write about. You could have simple things like one sunny morning, or I woke up and it was raining, or even my favorite thing about spring is. You could have some little picture cards with sentence starters for kids who might need a visual example too. I liked having different writing templates at my writing center, and they were differentiated for kids of all different writing abilities. That way, any child that went to the writing center would have something that they could feel confident working on. So for instance, for my struggling writers, I'd have easier tasks like write a list of farm animals or write a list of colors in the rainbow. For March, I might have one that said, make a list of things that are green. And since Earth Day's in April, I might have one that said, write a list of things that you can recycle. So there'd be different options for kids to write a list. And that's easier for your struggling writers because they're just writing one word at a time. And then also for those struggling writers, I'd have some different pages that they could color and label. So there might be a picture with different bugs and they could label the names of the bugs. Or maybe there'd be a little St. Patrick's Day picture for them to label. And then they could also write a sentence about the picture too. So there were different ways that kids could use the pictures depending on their writing ability. You can also put letter writing templates at your writing center. You can have cute borders with Easter eggs for April or shamrocks for March, and you can have kids write letters to a sneaky leprechaun or to the Easter Bunny. Another idea is to have kids write postcards or greeting cards to friends. You could put a little mailbox at your center or somewhere in your room, and kids could address their letters to their friend, and then you could choose one person to be the mail carrier for the week, and they could deliver the letters or the cards or whatever they had to the students. You could even coordinate with another teacher and put the mailbox in the hallway, and then kids could write to friends that are in other classrooms. That's the kind of stuff that makes kids excited to go to the writing center. And they're still getting lots of writing practice, but they're having fun at the same time. And that's what makes them want to write. Remember how I always say at the end of every podcast to make learning feel like play? Well, that's how you do it. Adding fun elements like erasers or cute pencils and fun writing prompts or the mailbox. That's what makes it feel like play to kids. And that's what's going to make them really want to go to the center and practice their writing. All right, let's see what else. You can also add some story starter writing templates to your center. I had some that had like a picture at the top of the page and then writing lines at the bottom, and the kids could write about the picture. You know, they were springtime pictures of kids planting a tree for Earth Day, or the Easter Bunny delivering baskets of eggs, or kids planting a garden. There were all sorts of pictures for the kids to choose from. And all of these templates that I'm talking about are part of my monthly writing prompts on TPT. I have a set for each month of the year, and if you want to see what's inside each of them, you can see them at firstieland.com/writing prompts, which is one word. You could also have kids practice different types of writing, like how-to writing or opinion writing. This is a good time to get some extra practice in so they could write how to fly a kite or how to color Easter eggs. Or they could write their opinion, like, which do you like better, jelly beans or marshmallow peeps? There's so many things kids could write their opinion about for your spring writing center. And then finally, you could even have some pages stapled together for kids to write a little book. They could use the story starter sticks and they could write and illustrate their own book. Or they could choose a book from your classroom library to write a little book report. I had a template that the kids used, and they'd write the title of the book, and then they would write the characters, the setting, and their favorite part of the book. It was just a very simple template because, they're only in first grade, but it was good practice. So as you can see, there's lots of different ideas of what kids can write about when they're at your writing center. And then when they're finished, you can have them publish their work. So you could add a little clothesline with clothespins for the kids to hang their finished writing projects. Or if you have a bulletin board nearby, you could let them pin their writing up there. You can even add some colored construction paper to your center for kids to mount their writing on before they display it to give it a little bit more finished, sort of published look. So there you have it. Lots of ways to spruce up your writing center for spring and give kids something to look forward to when it's their turn to visit the center. If you want to take a look at my writing centers, you can see them all at firstieland.com/writing prompts. And I actually have all my writing centers on sale right now. So if you're listening in real time, each monthly center and the full year bundle are going to be on sale from today through Saturday, March 14th. Okay, friends, I hope that gave you some great ideas on how you can get your writing center all ready for spring and make it a place that your class will really want to visit and practice their writing. If you enjoyed the podcast today, I'd love it if you'd just take a minute to leave a review. It's so simple. All you have to do is head to my show on your podcast app and scroll down and tap the 5 stars and then write a very simple, quick review. It really helps me out because when you leave a great review, it encourages other teachers to listen too. Okay, friends, thanks again for listening. And until next time, remember to make learning feel like play, and I'll see you next week.